Do I have a motion to call the meeting to order?
Motion. Second.
Let's approve the minutes of the previous meetings. Oh, did you get copies? Okay. Do I have on December 9th's minutes, I do see an amendment on December 9th's
Yes.
minutes. Amendment on page 2.
Yep.
Under new business, it's not the foundation grant, it's the formula grant. It's the last sentence,
Yeah, got it.
the first, okay. But other than that, excellent. I would have done the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve December 9th's minutes? Barbara, second? With amendments, I guess we would say, I don't know. And yeah, Linda approved, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Forgot to do that for the opening. Oh well. December 22nd meeting minutes.
Okay, I really need some help with this one.
Okay.
I have no idea how precise to be about, budget details.
Okay, wait, where was that? I did read a lot of that, and
There
yeah,
is a lot.
yeah, and
Should it be there or should it not? I don't know.
well, my suggestion is, I mean, we did discuss it. I don't think you have to be that precise in the minutes.
Okay?
If people were really wondering, because I mean, this isn't going to be what's happening.
That
you
was
ju-
my question.
Right, this is, we discussed it at the meeting, so you could just say discussed, proposals and go from there. I mean,
Should I list
because if
what I-
someone is reading these minutes, they're going, oh, well, look what, this is what's going to happen. Not
Okay.
necessarily going to happen.
Should I just include the words, these are the budget goals?
That would, yes, you don't have to give like the amount of money and all of that. If people who, I mean, this is my suggestion, I know we do this with the library, we discuss it, we don't put every little dollar amount down. It is on the, you know, we're being filmed, it's on the film. It will be in the omnibus
That's true.
when we're, you know, the final, this is just discussion about it. That's my feeling. It's not like we're trying to close it, but it is kind of, I don't know. I don't think other boards or committees may.
Well, I decided to put it in.
Yeah. Well, it was
because
good for
it
us,
would be
to
easy to
see.
take it out,
Okay.
rather than add it later.
And it is good for us to be reminded, and not have to go, because I mean, unless we all took notes, I happen to have this down because, you know, I had done the budget. What do you say, other people? Leave it in, take it out? I mean, it's
Goals
being
and-
transparent, but do we have to be that detailed? I don't know.
Well, and if they are read, then people might think that's what's happening, and you're right, that might not be what ends up happening.
Yeah. And I don't know, I mean, it's not that we're trying to hide anything, or, you know, it's
No.
just that, do we need to be that detailed? I mean,
I
we'd,
wouldn't include it.
Okay,
I would not because you're not being transparent, I would include it because,
it's not, that's our proposal.
discussed or put forward, it's just, no one has, you know what I mean, no one has to do this, this descriptive because of that, yeah, I don't think you have to.
how about,
It's in your, proposal, right, and that's a public document, so if anyone wants to see what you submitted versus what was approved, it's there.
And it's
So
also
you
in,
need to give the breakdown of it because there is a piece of paper that shows that.
you mean even listing the goals and words don't need to be there? Okay,
No, because all of that is submitted to the finance board in the town, so, yeah, no, you don't have to.
okay,
do that.
that's my feeling. And it's also, you know, if people are that interested, they can watch the video of us, and it has, all this discussion is there. So thank you, Irene, you were very, I'm glad you've got it all down on paper.
very good.
Very good minutes. But, so, do I have is there anything else? Discussion? So do I have a motion to approve the minutes of December 22nd with the said amendment of removing that section?
I'll make a motion.
Barbara, second? Are you, Larry, seconding? No? Anyone second? Second, Linda?
I'm still reading, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry,
No,
I'm
it's all
sorry.
right. What are we, so are we up for discussion?
Yes,
What
we're
are
still-
we actually taking out? Are we taking out the whole section of budget goals, or are we just leaving the headings and not putting the details in?
I think we should put discuss FY24 COA budget goals, period.
Right.
We discussed.
Okay.
And then all of this,
I just wanted to be clear.
right. And then go to, so all of the part that will come out is under that little dot FY24 COA budget goals will be discussion of that. The next section, and then it would come down to, in the future, board will need to decide to mail the newsletter. That would be
Right.
the next dot
Right,
or bullet point. Okay? All right, thank you. More
okay.
discussion?
Good,
Okay, so
thank you.
We go back again. Sorry, I thought, I thought you were done, Larry. Okay, so do I have a motion again to approve the minutes of December 22nd as amended? Barbara and Linda seconded. All in favor? All in favor.
Great, thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is our treasurer's report. Thank you, Marie.
Okay, I have to say, this is a work in progress. The salaries are correct, but the rest of them, I'm not sure. I put things where I thought they should be, for instance, bills payable and van maintenance, but I have to double check on those figures, because there may be something in the van maintenance that doesn't belong, because that's a lot of money, and maybe it belongs somewhere else.
Now, did you get this from Ellen or
I got the printouts,
from Ellen's?
but the thing, that was perfect, but I wasn't sure where to put.
Oh, for the different, your line items are different
Yes.
than what Ellen's are,
So
in other
I'm
words.
still working on it, because I'm really, and another thing, on the percentages, I have to work on that. Some of them at the end, percent left.
Mm-hmm.
I think what was on there before was percent used, but somebody corrected me, but that's what it seems like it is, but I have to, double check that.
Yeah. Yes,
Unless
I
changed a
think,
few things, yeah.
well, yeah, this looks
That's
like
a
it's
lot.
percent used.
Right,
So if you did percent left, so like the first one's 72%.
yeah.
If it's percent left, it would be
No, it looks like.
28%.
Right, and I
Right.
had mentioned
Right.
that before, and somebody corrected me, but I think it's used.
It's whichever you want it to be, I would think, as long as they jive. It's not left.
Right.
It's either do percentage
Right.
left or percentage used.
So I'm gonna,
Ellen does it percent used.
Okay, so if Ellen does a percent used, that makes sense.
yes,
So just the 72% makes sense,
right,
not left.
So
I
I
was
would-
like, whoa, we have lots of money.
yeah,
Let's
that's
go,
what I'm
we better
afraid
use
of,
this,
say,
yeah.
oh my God, we have.
So maybe just the top of that column, change it to percentage used.
Then I'm gonna double check all my figures and get the
Yeah.
correct
Yeah.
percentages.
I think, and again, we discussed this, Ellen's figures are going to be different because of the way we record, but I think going forward, if you go by Ellen's and say, okay, well, these are the figures, like these are the different warrants that we sent out, yes, this bill, this paycheck, this,
Right,
and double check against
Right.
that. So,
that's what I intend to do.
very good. Right, any discussion?
At one point, I remember a discussion about simplifying the treasurer's report, and how is that coming along?
I haven't attempted it yet, because for one thing, there's another grant. Of course, I forgot the name of the grant.
The DOT grant.
The DOT grant, which I have to put it
Have to
somewhere.
put that in here,
We
right.
haven't started that yet, but, yeah, I think it would be easy easier if we did it a different way, but I haven't figured it out yet. If anybody has any suggestions, I'm open.
Well, yeah, do you receive a spreadsheet or something like this from Ellen?
Yes,
Okay, well, perhaps using that and just double checking against that, and the report would be Ellen's report. I
Right.
know the library does that, those are the
This
warrants
is
that were
the-
signed.
What she sends, and we sign them, so I am gonna check.
Right, what she paid, exactly.
Right, and there was,
Exactly.
right. And so, those were the two major things, to change this to used,
Mm-hmm.
and then to, add on that grant, and then to figure out how to make it easier.
Right.
Just for clarity, and so that I can understand this, can we go across the van driver line?
Yes,
So, budgeted for this fiscal year was 21,310.
right,
So in July, 1,281 was spent, right?
yes,
Okay. August, 1,635.
right,
September, 1,761.
right.
October, 1,739. What happened in November?
One of the drivers resigned.
But why is it a negative?
Oh, that's another thing. These are all subtracted, and some of them come out as minuses, but they're really all minuses, and I am going to fix that also. To be
So,
honest with you, I find this kind of confusing, and it takes me a while to figure it out.
You know what? We don't have to use this form. This is the
Six.
form
Right,
7.
that Dot felt comfortable with, that she created.
it's
If
really.
you, as long as we see, so I understand what you're saying. So
So
in
every-
July, we spent negative, it was negative
that's what we
$1,281.
spent. Right,
That's how it was set up before. We spent
Paid it
that. It wasn't, yeah.
So my suggestion, sorry.
It's,
The
you know,
The
Yeah.
finance in me just kicks in. So my suggestion would be, what you do is create an Excel spreadsheet, right?
yes,
And every month, you say what your beginning balance was.
right,
You take out all your bills,
Right.
right? You subtract those out and what's your ending balance. And then you can flow it through into like a month by month, right? So everybody can see a month to date.
yes,
But you rotate that, so it pulls it in. I would be happy to work with you on that.
right, and it,
But
yeah,
it would make things so you could take all your bills payable that you've paid, subtract them out, you see what your ending balance is as of today, and it
Mhm.
flows through a grand total chart so that everybody can see the full totals of where you've kind of
which I
spent the
think
money.
this kind of
That kinda
did,
does.
but it's
nice
the
to have
opposite
the
of.
other information that she can say, okay, this is what we've paid, or what you've signed off on, you've allocated that, right? It might not have been paid yet, but you've allocated those funds.
right, right.
So,
And then I will be, glad to meet with you at
Yeah.
your convenience.
absolutely, yeah. I'd be happy
Yeah,
to
because
help.
this was a report that the format was used before,
Yes,
and we're getting the numbers. I mean, I really don't know how, I mean, I remember looking at these in other years going, okay, and I didn't know how it worked. I just, how much money do we have left?
yeah,
That's how all this other, like, because it's not as exacting. You know, like the formula grant has many things, or not many, but it's not just one thing that we're spending. It's, you know, a little bit for salary, a little bit for the van drivers, you know.
mm-hmm,
And yes, that's what was spent from the formula grant, but to figure that all out. So going forward, maybe you could meet with Sarah and definitely with, you know, Ellen and say, you know, how are you doing this? And have it jive. It shouldn't be a difficult thing for you, and I don't want it to be a difficult thing. I appreciate your,
Yeah, the layout is, odd.
yeah,
And I didn't really know how to fix it.
Right.
And I had other things going on that,
I know, you've been busy.
Can I please backtrack to my original question
okay,
of going across the line? So it says that we have a 13,000 plus as a balance left to pay van drivers, right?
yes,
So that is what we have left.
right.
Yes,
It's not what we have used.
right.
Mm-hmm,
Just do the math and make sure.
Yeah, if you take
Sure,
that and
'cause
and
it's about-
subtract all those, it should equal that,
Yeah, it's
right?
about $8,000 that we have spent out of 21,
Right.
which leaves about 13. but it's 13,000 that is so that's about 62% left.
Used,
Right. but
No,
what
not
Oh.
used, left.
left.
No, but what Sarah was saying, I think, is that in Ellen's standard report, she shows percent used.
So we
This may
should,
very well be
exactly.
percent left.
yeah,
But we should be, I
yes,
think we should be consistent
I think so
with
too.
the town
I would agree.
official records.
Yeah.
It'll make our lives easier. We won't.
Right.
have to-
Yeah,
And when you get
'Cause then-
Ellen's report, you'll see, oh, my percentage is tagged.
Right, A is A, B
Right.
is B.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I'm questioning this.
Yeah.
It seems,
No,
okay.
This may very well be correctly labeled.
Yes,
but
indeed,
inconsistent.
exactly.
Right.
That's the point.
Okay, thank you, everyone, for your suggestions.
I mean, again,
No, I know you've
yeah.
worked hard on it too,
Yes.
and but it's
I've
confusing,
worked hours, and I spent all day Sunday
trying to
trying
figure
to
it
figure
out.
what was what. And my husband goes, "You're not getting paid for this, are you?" I said,
This is the format you
Remember
have
budget?
inherited,
"Yes."
but I suspect
Change it, yeah.
that the format that's used by the town accountant or treasurer
Right.
has changed.
Right.
So they're out of sync.
Right, and
Okay.
Dot inherited this from the previous
Yes,
treasurer.
Yeah.
indeed.
which
Yes.
was, I'm sure, long before the town systems were. as
Exactly.
automated as
Right.
they are now.
And I remember Dot always prefacing it, well, our figures don't jive really with the towns yet, this kind of thing. I know, okay, this,
Yeah.
being on the library trustees, we go by Ellen's figures, our treasurer double checks with all the warrants, that's it. And just
Okay.
because you write a check on January 10th, that doesn't mean, or, you know, like, you put it for the warrant or whatever, it doesn't mean that it's gonna go through the cycle right away.
Right, 'cause
If
the title
warrant,
is-
yeah,
Bills payable.
like you know that you submitted a warrant on January 10th, you can't really deduct that because they didn't vote on it until last night to pass that warrant, and then Ellen writes the check. That company may not get paid until the 20th or 24th, you know what I'm saying? And you have it down January 10th, we took that money out. No, it didn't come out until
Well, basic accounting practice, you would account for it when you submit that. Even
What
if it
we
doesn't-
do, but it's not gonna jive with what
Correct.
Ellen
But
has,
then
that's what I'm
she'll
saying.
know. Right,
She'll
you'll
know.
have that in
Encumbered
accounting.
would
Right.
be amount
You would
encumbered.
count, you would
Yeah.
count that, and then you
Right.
would, and then you would know, okay, we have
This much
$5,000
left.
left, instead of saying we have 6, and then all of a sudden someone spends 6 and you
Right.
are in
Right.
the
Right, right, I mean, I didn't know the words.
I was gonna say, like,
Right,
your checkbook, it's
exactly.
gone,
You write it in
but
your
it's
checkbook,
not.
But someone hasn't
So-
cashed the
Right.
check, so the bank doesn't know about it.
Exactly.
Still not,
But you know.
but it's
Right.
not
Yeah.
there.
Right,
Hopefully,
hopefully.
that's the goal. We wanna know.
Well, we
about
don't
it.
want to be that low that we like. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report
Pending
pending
amendments.
amendments?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Thank
All
you.
in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Nisha sent us the COA office report. Did you all have a chance to look at that?
I have a question on it.
Yes.
I know. Can I ask that now, or do I have to wait?
Yes.
Okay. She mentioned something in there about an equipment shed,
Yes.
which was the first I'd heard about that.
Okay, that was, I think Marie or Irene could discuss that, because that was before any of us were on the board, the equipment shed.
Yes, Amanda started to take action to see if the COA could get a shed to house some tables, some chairs, some excess furniture, I guess, but primarily to house equipment that people donate, wheelchairs, walkers, things like that. We don't really have a place to store those. And so she had contacted Ed Reed, who was working with the department at Whittier Vocational School, to see if students could build the shed for us next to the library shed. That was, at the time, it was postponed when Whittier came in with the amount of money that it would cost. And supplies, of course, were much more expensive than we had been anticipated. So it was put on hold, and I'm not sure what the cost is now and how that would be paid for or anything like that.
So
Well,
I guess.
they had applied for the Wadley grant, which we were not approved
Right,
for.
Right.
Which I saw.
So that money's gone, so
Right.
now it's just
Up to.
So I guess to get
We'll apply
back
for a
to the
different rate.
need for it.
well, okay,
I
in the,
mean, and the liability. I mean, I just, you've got wheelchairs, you've got walkers, you have things that you want to make sure are in
Excellent shape.
excellent
Yes,
condition
good
for the
condition.
people that use them.
Mhm.
Is that something that we are comfortable?
well, it has happened. We
Okay.
have done it, and we used to store it behind this curtain.
Okay,
But then the COA was told they couldn't do it anymore, then I think they put it in the basement, and then they were told they couldn't do that. So
I
we
guess
have
my
very
question
limited
is- yeah.
numbers of things now. I mean, when I had my hip surgery, I borrowed a walker.
yeah.
I still have it because I say, well, I'm ready to return it. They say, we have nowhere to keep it, just keep it
Yeah.
in your garage. So it's in my garage. I'm
So
not storing
again-
all the medical equipment. But,
Again.
yeah, is it safe
And
equipment?
That's a
is it
good
safe,
question.
and
That's
is
True,
there
I
a
never thought of
better,
that.
is there a better, like, regional option?
Can we
There
table
is.
this whole discussion
Yeah.
until we get a new director?
Sure.
Yeah. But there is a
But I have
regional
a lot
place
of
to go
questions, I
for.
guess, before we would, because I know one of the things in Nisha's report was
Yes.
other funding sources.
Right.
And I would want to feel a lot better about this, or a lot more comfortable with this
Right.
project before we went looking for funding. Just-
Yes.
It seems like there should be a regional option that
The
might
other
be better.
question of
There
it,
is.
was the shed approved by the Board of Selectmen to put a shed on town property?
I don't know. Again, another, that was another
I believe
question.
that happened, I believe it was at the meeting. Do you recall, Jason? All right. Yeah, I just think, there are other agencies that do provide these
There are.
kinds of things.
Yes.
There are.
And, the fact that we have things donated to us, I hear what you say about, who maintains these, who makes sure that someone using a walker is not gonna have a problem with it. So, I think this is something that we can, maybe not immediately with the new director, but put that on the new director's
Table.
plate.
I think that's
Yep.
I would feel much better about that approach.
Yeah,
And to answer that question, yes, there is a regional office, I understand, in Ipswich that really deals with a lot of equipment, which makes me wonder and follow up with your question, if they're dealing with that much equipment, do they have someone who can confirm whether the equipment is
Safe.
safe and in good enough condition to be loaning out?
or that, we can suggest when people donate, to bring it
Donate
there.
it to them.
Yes.
I know I got an email from someone looking for, she didn't want a bed, she wanted to give a bed to, I was like, well, we have no place for a bed. And it was brand new from and the veterans didn't want to take it back, wouldn't take it back. And they went to, I forget where, it's through Age Span, I believe.
Yeah, Age Span
Age
does have one,
Span.
I know.
They have, and I think it's in Salem.
Okay.
I passed that on to Nisha, and she took care of it. But, yeah, if there are at least two places for people to reach out, I think we shouldn't be in the business of,
And it's actually on the sheet in the outreach room,
That's right. That's
that
probably why I-
laminated sheet.
right.
There are some
But
numbers.
that's, yeah, I agree with you that that is something that we don't need to deal with now.
So I second Larry's motion,
Yep, to table
yeah,
until the new director is in place.
yes, indeed.
Okay, we're getting the grant funds, $599 from the Mass Cultural Council. They're going to be doing an Older Americans Day in May up at VZ Park, and entertainment and lunch will be right there. March programming coming up will be Senior Scams with Lieutenant Heather Riley of Groveland Police Department. April Volunteer Appreciation Brunch, and conversation about the newsletter information. Hopefully, we'll have a director in place by then, but, we have to, by February 15th, we have to have all of that, and we need to have a discussion too as to whether we're going to mail it, do it how we've done it this time, or do we wait? I don't know how close we are to having a director. Do we wait Hi, new director, this is all yours. I don't know. But, yeah,
ASAP on the director.
right. Town administrator. Okay, yep. Yeah, I didn't know anything about the Echo Smith recycling, but that's under the Friends. That's the bin.
So
And,
do we know, I have a question about that. So in here we have a scanned copy of a check
yes,
from EcoSmith
Right.
to the Council on Aging for $180
Yes.
dated January 10th. Is this an annual? Do they send,
I believe they send
Profit
quarterly. I
annually?
believe they send quarterly, just from reports that I get at the library, because the library has one of these bins too.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's quarterly. Maybe they have it
Yeah, it says right on the check for the,
Annually?
you can read it?
it says.
for quarter four,
for the-
yes.
Got it, okay,
On the
fabulous.
bottom, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So, you know, it is, so, but it's,
Yeah.
I don't know why, so it went to the COA, not the Friends.
Should go to Friends, right?
So that may be something
Oh.
that has, yeah, because the Friends take care of this, but it went to the Council on Aging.
So we should follow up with that, with Nisha, and find out where it usually goes, or
Right.
how they've arranged this.
Right, because, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
If,
Actually, it's an opportunity for Linda to make a contact with our
There you go.
friends.
go for it, Linda.
Okay.
Linda will check out
Check out
Echo
the
Smith.
check.
Yes, check out the
Check
check.
out the check.
all right,
Okay.
sounds like a plan.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, old business. Larry, Director Search Committee progress. You're the
Well,
chair of that.
it's been, as the Grateful Dead says, it's a long, strange trip to get us where we are, and here we are. I'm pleased to inform the committee that we have two names coming forward to be considered for the position of director. And I want to thank Rebecca and Sarah and Jason for participating, also Marie and Barbara, and community participation from Jan Dempsey,
Susan Hancock's.
community participation from Jan
Oh.
Dempsey,
Oh, oh.
Susan Hancock,
Okay,
Beth Cuniff, and
Right.
Joanna Donnelly,
yes,
who all attended and provided some input
sorry.
for our deliberations. We interviewed candidates yesterday, the committee, and bringing forward the name of Sean Cass of Merrimack, Mass., and Karen Campbell of Newton, New Hampshire. Both of these people were very impressive in their interviews. We feel very strongly that either one of these candidates will do the job, and that was my directive to the search committee, to put forward people that we felt could fit and do a good job. It's now our committee's decision which of these two candidates. So one of the things that we need to do is to set up a time to interview. We need to post that in advance. It will be done in an open meeting. Susan Hancock's was particularly valuable, working with Jason to come up with the questions that we asked in the interview. And she has agreed, because we don't want to repeat the same questions in the open interview. So she has agreed, and I have actually talked with Irene to see if the two of them can take the questions that we've already asked. And also, our first meeting of the search committee members developed a pool of questions from which Jason and Susan worked from. So we still have those questions available, and we have questions from a previous director search. What I'm going to also invite the committee members is, if you have a question that you think would be pertinent for the whole committee to ask. I mean, it may be a repeat question, but that's for them to sort of sift through. But if you would forward any questions that you have to Irene, and she will include that in the questions that the committee will ask.
Do you have any idea of when you want to schedule those interviews?
I believe as soon as possible. I think everybody would love to have a director. I would,
Friday,
I-
48 hours.
48 hours, 11 o'clock Friday. 10:30,
you know, I think next week is reasonable.
Okay.
And so in terms of people's calendars,
I was like, Friday, let's do it, everybody free a Friday, let's do Friday. We go right in.
I'll write it for you right now, run over it.
I mean,
well, I'm not gonna be available Friday.
Okay,
so
there you go.
that's-
I just-
What
So
matters.
that,
yes, you need to be
I-
there. How about Monday?
I'm not available on Mondays, but you guys should not hold that up for one person.
I think it's important for the whole committee to participate.
On
I really
Monday,
do.
I don't have my calendar, of course.
I have a doctor's meeting on Monday, appointment at 10:30.
30.
I already canceled one.
Oh, no, I mean, we could do it, we have to have it in Town Hall.
Although whatever I have, I can change.
2023.
And Town Hall closes at
I know it's
noon.
not-
You don't have to have it,
Could we have it at the fire station
you can,
again,
you just need to confirm of,
that it's open?
it's available. But I mean, I can pull it up.
I could do, Monday, the only time I could do would be evening.
Monday evening?
And I don't know if either of the candidates are currently working, if it's difficult for them to do midday, if they have a,
Well, that's what I had asked before, but, I mean, if they want the job, I guess.
We
Well-
could do it Monday evening if people are,
I mean, actually, anytime like after, probably 3:30, 4:30, anytime like 4:30 on.
it doesn't need to be 7 o'clock. It could be.
Right,
I
it
could
could
do
be
like,
late-
yeah.
Late in the day.
I feel like, my personal thought was, it would be kinda nice if you did it later in the evening, so if other townspeople wanted to come in person and just like view it, you know what I mean, or view it at home, more people would be aware, right? I mean,
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock
on the
Monday?
23rd.
Okay.
Is that
Well,
okay?
looks like not good.
No, it's okay.
No, what?
My knitting group, I haven't seen
Oh,
them
I
at
know, I
all.
was gonna come too.
It's okay, it's just a knitting. It's
So would
only
it be the
knitting.
first one starting at 6? And then the next one at 7?
6 and 7.
Okay.
Monday,
So we'd want
What's
to be
that
here a
date?
little bit before that, like we did
Right.
yesterday to.
Right, so,
get
so
prepared.
the committee meeting would start at 5:30. We actually, I'll ask you to get any questions to, since we're expediting this, get any questions to Irene by the end of the day today, and that she can distribute the questions to the committee. And
I'll need Sue Hancock's email or something.
right, and if Marie or Barbara want to participate in that, some of the questions were obviously more effective
That's
than
what I was
others.
thinking, to forward some of the questions where the candidates' strong points or, particularly were highlighted
Right,
during the interview,
because we
so,
do want to highlight
Know what
them.
those were, yeah.
yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
And I also want to just add a comment about the process. I kind of joked that it was a long, hard trip, and in many ways it was, but I thought that we finished up really well. I think there was a great consensus in the search committee. We use the phrase that we are in a period of transition, and I see us moving forward in a very positive way from this point on, and that's really what we all want. We want our Council on Aging functioning well, and I think with both of these candidates, will bring that opportunity for us. We just need to decide which do we feel is a better fit. Jason?
I did want to make one suggestion. I know you said that you wanted to avoid duplicating some of those questions that we asked. But some of those questions I think is going to be important to ask just for the other people that weren't in the interview.
Right, well, Barbara
That's what-
just mentioned that,
Yeah,
you know,
that I-
we wanna keep.
Then I should probably just keep my mouth shut.
No.
Pay more attention.
I just want to say we agreed with you that we want to highlight the candidates, and some of the questions were very instrumental in pointing out why these are good candidates for us. We don't want to maybe use the exact same wording, but hit the same opportunities for them to
Discuss.
show their best side.
Awesome.
Okay.
So that
Oh.
means we need to post this by,
I would do it right after this meeting to make sure.
Right, and Barbara, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
I simply wanted to say that both candidates are very enthusiastic about the job. They bring a great deal of enthusiasm. They had done their homework. They had looked at us up on websites. They had read our newsletters. They had really gone in and see what we're up against. They know about the staff changes. They had really looked into and showed an extreme, interest in this position. And I think they would both bring, a great deal of strength to it. And what they don't know, they're certainly willing to learn, and they have a real let's go attitude. Let's move forward. Let's not look back. Let's move forward. And we were very happy about that. We feel they're good, strong candidates.
Sounds as if they're in sync with the board's attitude, too.
And Marie, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think both of them were, in fact, on my notes, I wrote wow on one of the candidates.
Yeah.
That person was so good. And that's all I had to put on my notes was wow. And the other one was,
Well, wow, so we'll take
That was a
wow.
good word.
We'll take wow.
the other one was good too, but that one and if the other one,
Ends
had a little less, and if I thought little less of the other one, it wouldn't matter because I think they're both capable. They both will do the job. They both seem conscientious.
So do we know where we can hold these? Can we go back to the place the places they know, the place they know?
You can, or, you would have to talk to the police department to make sure you could do that again. I just spoke with Rebecca, and you can book in here, and I'd be happy to bring them in and escort them out.
Oh, that's not a selectmen's meeting night?
It is not,
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
Because they had it
So
last
here?
night.
yes.
So we could, well, okay. So this would bring them into this space where they will,
Well, the one candidate, as I was the escort yesterday, said, oh, so is, is this where the COA is located? And I've never been in this building. And I said, no, we're in the fire and police. And we were going back down the hallway, and it's like, I've never seen this area. And it's like, I haven't either. This is like the lockup area, or not lockup, but this is,
I've never been in the building.
No,
either
that,
there.
where we had to bring them
Oh,
through
okay.
was kind of, like, nobody goes there unless you're a police officer or firefighter, so.
Sarah,
Felt important.
what's the exact name of this room?
The main meeting room.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and one last thing I want to include. When we were discussing the whole process, Susan Hancock's brought up a really good point, that not only are we asking them to sell themselves, we're also selling ourselves to them. So I want the committee to consider, we won't be meeting hopefully before, well, we will be meeting to interview, but maybe part of that discussion would be, what do we do community-wise to welcome our new director? And, having a meet and greet event. So just put that in the back of your mind. It's something that I think that we should do, is celebrate the appointment of a new director. So,
Okay,
and
Thank you.
Thank you all
Yes,
one more
thank you.
time.
Well,
for-
thank you.
And
I was going to say.
Thank
that
you.
we Thanked everybody
Wow.
else, and now we'd like to thank you because you were well
Great job.
prepared. and
Seriously.
Right.
Very good job.
been very,
Much appreciated.
good team. Outreach coordinator, last night, the Board of Selectmen appointed or approved the appointment of Maureen Lelock as the interim outreach coordinator. Unfortunately, Maureen thought that the meeting started at 7, which is what they used to. And she came, it was like, I came and she wasn't here, so I got to get up and speak all about Maureen. And then she called me, she's, I must have just missed you, you must have been leaving as I was coming in. But anyway, that's, you know.
What time
neither
do
here
they
nor there.
start?
6:30.
Now they start at 6:30.
I mean, I watch them on TV, but
Yeah, yeah, I know, it's 6:30. So Maureen will be starting, she was appointed as of this coming Friday. So what's going to happen, she's going to still be the substitute van driver on Monday and Tuesdays. So her hours for the substitute van driver are 8:30 to 3. However, if she is not going to be on Mondays and Tuesdays, sorry. If she is not going to be driving, she will be able to do outreach. In fact, she has already, while she's waiting to get something to do for van driver, which is the concern with our budget, like
Right.
we're paying somebody to just sit there. She's been, you know, exploring everything that's in the outreach office, looking things up on the computer about outreach. You know, what is age, well, she's familiar with some of the things at any rate. So she will work on Mondays from 8:30 till 8 o'clock. So, you know, if she has no rides, she will be outreach that entire time. If she has a ride, then she will be the van driver.
So Maureen will need to keep her timesheets.
Timesheets separate, correct.
So that she can get paid
Right.
appropriately. Because they're two different salaries.
Yes, yes,
Hourly rates, two
right.
different hourly rates, as well as different funding sources.
You're right. And yet, she cannot go beyond her hours that, so she will be working 8:30 to 8 on Mondays, 8:30 to 5 on Tuesdays, and 4 to 5 on Thursdays, just to, you know, touch base with if there are any messages that need to be, you know, or, you know, the people who are working in the pantry on Thursdays might have, you know, these are the calls that have to be taken, like, you know, or Nisha might. She cannot go beyond the hours for her outreach position. So there's
Right.
X amount, you know, but, because, I mean, if you add this all up, it's a full-time job. You know, it's, I think, 20 hours,
say.
whatever. But it will be job sharing, so it will be a track of, I went, and took the van for this
Right.
time, I did
Okay.
outreach for this, and not to overextend to an amount of hours for the outreach. I'm very happy that this is going to be working, keeping getting the pantry open in the evenings, and hopefully going forward, whoever we do hire for an outreach position, permanent outreach position, would, you know, continue that. I think that's something we should ask, if they could do that, where town hall is opened. Anyway, what else?
And now we would want to publicize
Yes,
these new hours
yes.
for the
Mm.
food pantry being open.
Right,
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's down under.
yes.
That's,
Um,
yeah.
Oh, is it? Yes.
Sarah, is there anything other than Maureen tracking her hours that the town is gonna require? Just because it is kind of a
Split.
different situation?
I would ask that Laurel work with Rebecca to make sure.
Yeah, but I think
don't
it's
so.
already
I think
there.
as long as she makes sure that if she's allotted 10 hours for one and 15 for another,
Right.
that she.
Tracks it that way,
Yeah.
right.
We just want to make sure that Maureen's fully understands everything that she has
Right,
to do so
and
that she
we
doesn't.
discussed that, right. So, you know, she knows, so for instance, I think it was Monday, I don't even remember what day, she was in there, and I said, no ride said, she said no.
Yeah,
And yet she was being paid for van driving.
under that old system, which we
Yes.
change, which we've proposed
Proposed to change,
for the
so,
coming fiscal year.
I mean, if she
Correct.
was doing if she had been hired, she could be doing, I'm not calling it pantry work, because it's so much more.
It's way not, yeah.
It's
pantry is
way
the-
more than the pantry. So she could be doing all that outreach. I mean,
Yes.
she could have been doing the tax appointments.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, really.
Yes.
So that type of thing, and she
Yes.
would just have to track her hours have Nisha check them off, or when we get a director, have them checked
Right.
off.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I just don't,
Yeah.
I want to just make sure that we understand everything that the town requires, so that we don't cause any kind
I
of
kn- friction, exactly,
confusion or any kind of
Right.
issue
Right.
inadvertently, because we don't, there's something that we don't know.
right.
We keep
I
finding
mean,
out that
because it is
we
different.
don't know what we don't know.
Right.
Exactly.
And both positions do have a piece of it
I know.
paid by formula grant, so
Yes.
that's the
Another
whole-
issue.
Another
Oh,
issue.
my Lord.
Right.
So, anyway, congratulations to Maureen.
That's good news.
Yes, it is good news
yes.
for, for many, because that's the piece that I feel has been, I don't want to say suffering, but
Well,
I
it's-
think
it's
people are looking for
It's
it,
an
and we're
important
not,
piece.
we're
It's an
not,
important
Probably
piece.
the most important,
Yeah, it is an important piece.
right. I mean,
It's probably the most important.
well, that, and then those who don't need those services, it's, well, the whole thing with the van. Well, we have no trips in January.
Yeah.
I've heard that. But anyway, okay, so van update, Larry.
Before we move
Oh.
on to that, can we bounce back to the director's report? There was something we did not address.
Directors, oh,
Oh, the COA office
The
report.
COA office report.
oh, yes.
The training on January 24th.
Well, yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
get to
yeah.
that as
Oh,
we
is
got
that
down
further
there.
down?
Yes,
Okay, I'm sorry.
yes,
Then I will
Yeah.
jump into the van update.
yeah. Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that was.
Oh, no,
covered, all right?
definitely, yeah.
So the van is running and
Hey.
has heat, and we think the AC is working. The problem was a issue with the control panel on the dashboard. My last check that both Maureen and Frank had successful runs, that everything seemed to be operating. Of course, we haven't had air conditioning weather, so, maybe with this crazy climate thing, maybe we'll have a 60-degree day and they can run the AC for the whole trip. But at this point, it appears that we are good with the van. But I don't know where we are with a van driver, because Maureen is,
Well,
to my knowledge, there haven't been any applicants for the part-time Monday, Tuesday job.
Was the cost of the repair for the van covered under warranty?
Yes,
Okay.
there was no cost to
Great.
us, so good question.
And I have a question. So we had a resignation of of the Monday, Tuesday van driver.
Right?
Do we as a board ever have to recognize that at a meeting?
That was,
Because that's never
I-
been
I
discussed.
thought we did on December
December the
22nd.
Yeah, it was mentioned at that meeting. But did we have to vote to accept a resignation?
no, the resignation, I think probably just went through Rebecca,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
so I don't think we need to take
Okay,
action on that.
Just wondered.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no letter, there was no.
Right.
There was
He
Okay,
didn't receive the letter. There was a letter, but
no, there
brought it,
wasn't, there
right.
wasn't
right.
to us.
but it
Right.
wasn't to us. Okay.
And
Thank
as
you.
far as I know, that posting is still up. I did look at one point.
I'll check it right now.
Yeah, if you want to, well, and I'll continue. So, yeah, right now we have the regular van driver on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and Maureen is still the substitute van driver. And, yeah, I don't know, right, it's difficult to judge. I mean, it's been fine for this week, or this month, I'm sorry, because there have been no van trips in terms of, let's go down to the casinos or, whatever. Because we didn't know what the situation was with the van. Going forward, where we do have some trips coming up, yeah. Be nice to have a regular van driver, but, yeah. He's
Maureen,
looking-
a substitute van driver?
She's the substitute. So let's say, Frank was sick, she would come in for him, or for the former van driver, if he couldn't do it, or, sometimes there may be something, I don't think the two of them worked at the same time, no.
She wants to keep that position.
Well, yeah, she might as well. I mean, we could make
I
her
don't mean now,
the,
I mean, if we hire an outreach, she still wants to be the
yes,
substitute.
yeah, oh, yes, definitely, she,
I
I mean,
had
when we
expressed
an
that,
outreach. Not
no.
if, when.
no, she said, you know,
Okay.
she would definitely,
There is no posting on the
They
town
t-
website
so they
for
took
the
it
van
down.
driver. So
Hmm.
I will,
yeah, because I had sent a
Contact
letter to
Rebecca.
please post, I think it was up there, it was up
Well-
there at one point. And I don't know why it came down.
the
It might have
job
expired.
description, the
Oh,
ones
they
that are
still
up
have-
there are outreach coordinator, the director position, and committee members. So, you know, obviously, 2 out of 3 of those can come down, but we should have the van up there.
Right. And unless Maureen wants to be that person as well, said being substitute van driver, maybe we could ask her that, you know,
Well, the posting would be up, so she would have an opportunity
right,
to
we'd have to
apply.
let her know that, right, okay. Administrative tasks,
You're going to
still.
see Rebecca about that?
I will do that.
Yes, thank you. The annual report still hasn't come in, so we can't do a report when it hasn't been sent. The budget update, the budget was submitted December 27th. We were one of the first, and thank you, especially to Deb, who helped figure it all, how to get it up to, onto the platform. The annual town report, I think I had reported before, had been sent in. We got a thumbs up on that. We included everything that was supposed to be there. Grant updates, we have not received the grant for the Wadley Foundation. The Mass DOT, we have received, I think we announced that at the last meeting. There is going to be a training, well, there was a training,
January 3rd?
well, there's going to be a okay, so there was a Zoom meeting yesterday with, it was supposed to be Deb and Nisha, and Deb couldn't get on.
Well, it wasn't a Zoom meeting.
No, it wasn't a Zoom,
Well,
okay.
So what Nisha sent me on Friday, the Friday that
Right,
you called
Friday,
me and
right.
asked me if I could do it, and I said yes. What Nisha sent me was a Teams meeting, but with a call-in number, which
Okay.
I've done
The phone.
successfully in the past.
Right. So it wasn't a Zoom, okay.
And, however, I don't know if Nisha sent me the wrong information, because she simply forwarded the email from the earlier DOT
So you were trying to get on the,
that we had.
maybe
No
it was
idea.
just,
I sat,
yeah.
I tried, I sat for 10 minutes, emailed Nisha.
can't get on,
She got back to me later in the day and said, I don't know why you were on hold, I was in the meeting. But by then it was,
right,
you know, way too late. So anyways, I did not, attempted
Yep.
to get on the meeting, but once I looked and I called in the number, I'm sitting there going, okay, why is no one admitting me to this meeting? And then I
Right.
looked at her email and I'm like, oh,
that's
well,
why.
this is the one that she forwarded me, the one from,
Right, from before, and by mistake.
So.
And, you know, thank you for
I tried.
doing it, because I was over there
I know, I
escorting,
know.
and I couldn't
I
couldn't
know.
be on two at the same time.
So I don't know. She
Um,
said she did have a meeting and it was brief.
Yeah,
but
she
she
was
didn't
very
tell me
brief,
yet
and,
what was discussed.
I can, just a second, I'll get. So basically, there were some questions, regarding the use of the DOT grant. Hold on, come on, how come this isn't working? There we go. So, that there is, that Nisha will be the point of contact for the grant, and that 2 to 3 COA board members will help with the collection of timesheets and invoicing. And then there's the training on the 24th of January is how to use the Grants Plus system. And this person, Lauren Richmond from the grant, will be training people on how to do that. Post-award community transit grant program training on January 24th from 9:30 to 11:30. And they will train us how to do that and enter. So basically, this grant where it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's to fulfill just salary, what we would have to do, or Nisha would have to do, is take copies of her paycheck stubs, or probably the timesheets, I'm sorry, not paycheck stubs, of her timesheets, keep them in a folder for some, such a length of time until the grant is over. And then quarterly, we could do it monthly or quarterly, but they suggested quarterly where that's all we are submitting. It's a submission online to this program called Grants Plus. So I was wondering if anyone here would be interested in being there. We need to have a grant manager. Typically, it could be a director too, so we could
was gonna be my
add.
question. If we had a director, this would not normally fall on the board.
Exactly, but we will not have a director
In time for
probably in
January
time for
24th.
January 24th.
I'm planning, had added the meeting to my calendar.
Okay,
But
I did too.
there you
So
go.
I'm
I have
planning
my
on doing
3
the fall.
financial people, great.
Yeah.
All right. So it will be Deb, Marie, and Barbara. Thank you for, and then, maybe we, down the road, when we do have a director in place,
We should transition it.
transition over so that we don't have to do it. Although they did suggest treasurer be involved, because you would be actually collecting all those timesheets. You're signing off, or I am. Well, the director will be eventually, but you will still have that power to do that, and you're the one that's collecting everything that's financial. So, yeah, I mean, they're saying 2 or 3 board members. It can be director and,
But I'm
yeah.
I'm
And we
thinking
don't
for
want
the
Nisha
small-
to be she's
Right.
the point person that they'll connect with.
Right.
And she can eventually switch that over,
Yeah.
go to the director, but she shouldn't be doing that where it's her
No,
payroll.
Exactly. So
So-
my guess is for $9,000 and quarterly submissions, it probably is not gonna require 3 board members to be
No,
involved.
exactly. So, okay, if you, all 3 of you go on to that Zoom meeting,
And then we'll know it.
and then
we'll
you can
understand
decide, I don't want to do it, you can do it, whatever.
Well, we'll find out. I'm the director
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
Could we do it from Nisha's office?
Yeah.
Because I have not had success with Zoom meetings
With
other
your own,
times.
right. So, yeah, no, if you, using that,
Either they could see my face
Yeah,
and
we'll
not
do
hear
it from
me.
home and you can,
Yeah,
yeah.
you won't all be crowded around.
say that again?
I said Deb and I can do it from home.
Yes.
And
so
you
that
could come
way
down
you're
here
not
for that,
terribly
yeah.
crowded around.
And Nisha's going to be doing it too. Nisha will be in on that meeting, that,
Yes.
the January 24th meeting, so you could come down, do it with Nisha. She'll set it all up and
I'll
boom.
check with her to make sure.
Okay. So that's the training for that. Is that what you were going to get at, Larry?
Yes,
When-
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, making sure that we had that
Right.
representation.
definitely.
I just-
Okay, next, AARP tax program. I have so far made 56 appointments out of 96.
Nice.
It's been funny because I really don't want to spend my days down here waiting people to call back to me.
Yeah.
So they're sending them to my home. If I'm not home, the people are returning the calls to my house, and my husband's going, she doesn't do taxes. And then I have to call them back, and,
Oh, my
so it's
gosh.
been a lot of this, telephone tag, and it's been trying to leave messages, their mailbox is full.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, empty your mailbox. I don't know how to do that. It's like, okay. I see, so I'm a little bit more technology. But anyway, it's
that's a
great.
great response.
Most of the people are from Haverhill.
Because they don't have
They
a site
don't
this
do
year.
it. We are the only town in this region that's doing it. And I've met some very lovely people. Of course, giving them my home phone number was maybe a mistake in a few cases.
Yeah.
I'm their new best friend, but it's nice. It's nice. Oh, how are you doing? And it's been a nice adventure. But we have 40 left to do. What I'm doing is Friday, I sent the list that I had at that point to John Drynan from AARP, and he will be sending out the packets. And then every Friday, I'm going to, then
Send
here's
you-
6 more, 10 more, whatever.
Do we know
So-
what the maximum number of appointments they?
96.
96 is the maximum.
Yes.
How many are they able to do a day? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. They're going to be 3, I guess they call counselors a day, and they do 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, and 1 o'clock appointments. So 4 times 3, 12 a day. And they are, whatever, 12 into 96 is what? That many days.
So
Really, you said 3 people working at a
3
time?
people working appointments,
Okay.
yes, so, it's great.
So we've only, so when you say there's
fif-
56, that's how, 56 out of 96, so
Right, I have
56
40 more
peop-
appointments I can make.
Okay, but you don't have 40 more people. At first, I thought you meant you'd only reached 56 of
No,
96.
no, well, okay, so,
Okay, So
yes.
you've reached, for the most part.
The names I have received have
Were
been 56.
56.
There are 2 people on that list, so if you really technically, they haven't made their appointments yet.
But still,
But they
it's
have messages
56,
as of
okay.
last night.
All right, that's.
Yeah.
That's
So
what I was curious
that's
about.
great. And like I
That's-
said, most of the people are from Haverhill,
Yeah,
and, you know, they don't know where Groveland is.
right.
And they don't know where the fire is. I have to give directions. I said, do you have a
Really?
GPS? You know, here's the address.
Go over the
And then,
bridge.
yeah, I said, well, what bridge? I said, well, and then,
Well,
oh,
they
the
have-
Groveland Bridge. I said, so you know the Groveland Bridge. How do you get to how do you get to Newburyport? Oh, that road? I said, yes. How, and there's 3 brick buildings up on the left you pass, less than a mile down after you're heading towards Newbury. No, I can't envision that. Many of them. And I'm like, how do
And
you
they
live in
probably
this
don't have
area if I
GPS.
should?
Use a phone app or whatever.
Post it again, like on.
She sent a robocall last Thursday.
And I
Right, but
got-
again, like maybe on social media, so that maybe we can, maybe that.
Up
more
the people?
Of
I
Groveland,
didn't get a
maybe, I
robocall.
don't know.
I got a robocall and
didn't
I've
get
seen
You
it
know
on-
what, she sent the robocall, I take that back, she sent the robocall to the people who came last
Ah,
year,
okay.
and boy, all of a sudden the phone was ringing off the
Really?
hook,
Because I
that
got one and
day.
I
I
didn't do
got
it
one
last year.
too.
Yeah. So
I
got
didn't get a
robocall.
call.
I didn't get a call either.
Interesting.
No.
I didn't go last year.
I don't know, you know, and it's been in our newsletter, which,
It's
by
been
the-
on Facebook, I've seen it
it's
on.
been on Facebook. Maybe she could send it out to all the email people.
Has it been on the sign?
No,
I can't remember.
I don't know how you get things on the sign.
You just send
That
a
could
quick
be.
little note to Rebecca, if you already have something already kind of up on a 8x10, whatever, you just, and then she posts it. I don't think individual people can post it, I think it's on.
Garden club and things like that, can I know,
No,
but yeah.
everyone submits it through Rebecca and she posts
Yeah,
it.
but so you need it on a what, an 8x10, like,
Just make like a
Could we just
little-
make a copy
yeah,
of what's in
something
the, in the
nice.
newsletter?
well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, just
Yeah.
something simple, yeah.
Oh, wait, and you're talking about posting it where? On the town website?
On the sign.
On the sign,
sign.
out front, okay.
Yeah.
So it has to be 8x10? Okay,
And it can also go on the website.
okay, website. And,
You already have it on Facebook, you said, right?
yeah, on the Council of Groveland, Council on Aging in Groveland's website. I could put it
You
on
did the first time.
Town Crier. There we go. That's what gets, I could, because it's not anything that's, you know,
Commercial. A lot is word of mouth too, I think.
right.
Right.
Because you figure how much advertising.
So,
can we
so
do, and they
even,
really
for
book-
instance,
we-
yeah, yesterday, I think the newsletter was, I agree with the discussion we had last month, well, it was last year, on, the newspaper being mailed. Not everyone knows the information. Yesterday at 3B Fit, I was speaking to somebody, she was at Whitestone, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's something, somebody said something about the tax appointments, and I said, oh, did you make a tax appointment with me? You live up at Whitestone, quite a few people there have called. And she said, tax appointment, what are you talking about? So I told her, she goes, I didn't hear about that. And I said, well, it's in the newsletter. She said, I didn't get a newsletter this month. And I said, well, they're made available.
Yeah.
And I said, maybe you need to add your email down to Nisha and get one, you know. So I think we have to I know it's been in the newsletter, spread the word, and then somebody from Haverhill was saying, you know, Haverhill told her to call, but she says, I used to get your newsletter. I said, well, it said, you know, for many months now, it has said, if you live in Haverhill, you'll have to pay for the newsletter, but it said, there's nothing stopping you from giving Nisha your email or coming over the bridge and stopping at the library or the COA office. She said, oh, I go to your library all the time. I said, they're right there. You could pick up a paper copy. Oh, I didn't know that. So I don't know.
That's why I say it's a lot,
It's
a lot is word of mouth.
information, I mean, even back when I used to have my school, it would be, please read this notice, please. And I finally would get to the point that I drop it on the floor, like, oh, somebody dropped their papers. as they'd enter into the school, and they'd pick it up and like, oh, Laurel, somebody dropped this. I said, yeah, it was me. So you would read this thing.
Clever.
That was one of the questions that we asked the candidates yesterday about how would you reach out? What platforms do you use to reach out? And, you know, several of them had experience and had good ideas, and that's something that, you know, that will really be pushed, I think, with
That is
the
a
new
good,
director and
it's
the
a very good
outreach person
question.
working together to really get this
Get
push
that-
out,
get it
get the
out.
push out there to, how do we reach people who don't, you know, read
Don't read.
emails and who don't, who are housebound and can't
Who
go
aren't
out
on
and get a
Facebook,
copy
too.
and.
Well,
And I was gonna say a lot aren't
I
on
refuse to
Facebook
use
either.
Facebook, and
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
has to be, you
Right.
know, other ways too. And
Yeah.
that's, so that
Facebook's a
will be,
good tool for certain
that'll be
people,
a
but not
focus.
everybody.
Yeah.
No, and, you know, a lot of people, I know, a lot of elders do not pay that money to have internet at their home.
right.
No,
It's an expense
It is a
that
very
they
big
cannot
expense.
afford.
Yeah.
So, you know, and are they, for them to go to the library or a place where you can
Some people do.
access,
That's
there's
right.
some people do, but they're not going to do it all the time. I mean,
I was somewhere where I noticed newsletters, not the library, because I know they're there, somewhere else recently. That's gonna drive me crazy now. Where was I?
the coffee place,
Yes,
they have it there.
That's where I
yeah.
was.
company has it
Which one?
too, and I
Ultimate
think
Perk?
the
Ultimate
water
Perk.
department has them.
Where? Who?
I know the electric company does.
Yeah, probably
I think
water
the water
department.
too.
Probably.
'Cause I paid the bills and I
I
thought,
I
oh,
don't know
that's
all the
nice.
places, but the van drivers
yeah.
distribute them around, and many copies,
Yeah.
but
I never go to Ultimate Perk either, and I happened to be in there a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, hey, there's the Council on Aging newsletter.
So they're in a lot of places, so personally, I think it could eliminate mailing.
but you'd have to,
We should
There
put them
are,
in John
there are
Vale,
housebound people.
There
that-
you go.
Yeah,
Not a
that
s-
make
to a
sure that
degree,
they-
yeah, not 100%,
Right.
but
including
and
me.
you know, or even,
you could cut it down, let's put it that
we
way.
could cut it down, yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you cut it down?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, because they have
that's the
said,
question.
in numerous newsletters, they have put right there, we are really asking you, we want your email so that we can send it electronically.
I know, and I've never done it either. And
Aha.
I look at it and I think, oh, yeah, I gotta do that, and then,
I never did
I
it
don't
either,
do
to
it.
tell you the truth, because I like a paper.
well, I like a paper too, but, yeah.
But I realize I can
I
come
can
here and
get
get
it.
it, I mean, I'm right across the street, I can get it everywhere.
Well, this is
So
another
I
good
did get
task
off
for
the
new
list.
director.
There we go, so, yes.
I did get off.
And one of them had experience with delivering Meals on Wheels or going over to retirees' homes, and whenever they went, they would take a newsletter.
Yeah.
Here, have this.
Well, they do that here. When they deliver the meals, any kind of meals,
Yep.
they deliver a newsletter.
Yeah.
Because, and, you know, even the social we had here, they got the newsletter. So any event that is, you know,
Yeah, Traveling Chef will be
Traveling
tomorrow,
Chef,
and they
right.
always put a newsletter in the Traveling Chef
so,
bag,
and that's mostly reaching people
who are probably
who are
housebound,
So,
if
yeah.
they have signed up for that. So that's a way to reach 40 people,
Right.
30 to 40 people.
So we've kind of discussed March, April newsletter already, but I think we can, well, Irene.
What about what's above?
Yeah, I know, well, I'm just jumping,
Okay.
okay. Assistant director's pay increase, okay, we'll talk about that. It's hopefully happening. We did the form on Friday.
I checked with Rebecca, she said it was on the warrant last night.
Okay, good. And I didn't hear that they had excluded anything, so that has gone in. I think there was a question about using the terminology stipend, but I think that has been figured out and okayed. So phew, it's in.
Thank you.
So she will receive her first check, I think it's, I don't know what day they get paid, but this coming week, sometime here. March, April newsletter, I'm sorry, I was just saying, we discussed a lot about newsletter. The date for that was in the
It's in
notes.
directors.
Yes, February 15th, where did I put that? It needs to be in.
I will be working, I'm in the pantry tomorrow from 10 to 2, so I will be spending my time, anytime I'm not working on food, I'll be spending, trying to update the
List.
address list.
Great. And you know, that's a task too, that possibly you could show, well, either the other pantry drivers, or Maureen, because that is outreach.
Yes, when I figure it out, I'll
When you
be happy
figure it
to
out.
share.
But, is there a way she could, take over
Exactly.
so that it's not
A way
just
we
you?
can mark it off so that we know where to pick it up to
Right.
continue on the list.
And Nisha would be supplying the calendar. As far as the front page letter, that would be something, we'll have the director by that time, hopefully. Well, if
They
we
might have to
meet,
They might have to give notice from the
Oh,
town
they will.
job, so,
Yeah.
there's a-
But if they've accepted it, we can still put it in there.
Right.
If,
right,
if we've made
we're
an offer and
welcoming.
they've accepted it and the selectmen have approved it, we could still hopefully,
There's
Yeah.
still a process
Coming
to go
soon.
through.
Coming soon. Enough. So, I'd be glad to help out again. Irene was wonderful doing it last time.
Well, I learned more
You
last
learned,
month.
yeah, so this is it,
last
we're
time,
learning.
so-
It's like, oh, we can do all of this, can't we?
not very well.
Not very well. We're doing the best we can.
It's a platform I had
Right, yeah.
never seen before, and I wasn't gonna start playing with a whole lot of formatting issues with it.
Right. And a lot of the things just stay there from month to month. to
Some
month.
things stay or need to be updated,
Just a different date.
which
you
is
know.
helpful.
Yes. So, yeah, I think that's been the issue along the way with everything, is it's platforms we're not familiar with, or,
Right.
it
Right.
just, it's not our job. We're learning, and, yeah, it's taken a while to do that. Food pantry, who would like to discuss that?
Okay.
Deb, are you the point person for that?
But I can be.
Go for it.
So we're still able, we've been staffing it with volunteers.
Mhm.
I think everybody knows I feel pretty strongly that those volunteers should only be doing food-related tasks in there. They're not qualified to be outreach workers. It's not our job. It's fine if the phone rings and Nisha's not there to answer it, we can certainly take a phone message, but much more than that, I don't think we should be doing it. Again, I think there's a need in this town that's there, and I think we just need to figure out how to get that word out, because I can't believe that there are not families at Bagnell that need a little bit of help with groceries.
For that high school.
We've got, we do have some people from River Pines that, do use, but there's still, there's, I don't know, something like 56 people that live at River Pines, and we may get 3. So I still think there's a lot, there's need out there. I don't know how, I hope that's something that the new director will be able to do, to get that message out to the community. Irene and I had talked one day when we were in the pantry,
Yeah.
about, how do we best communicate this with Bagnell?
It's not only Bagnell, it's also the high school,
Right, but if you got,
or,
if
To the
you
region.
start at least
That's
with.
a starting place.
right, oh, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
How do we get that information there, especially, I do think having it open on Monday night will be a wonderful option. If someone, a lot of people that need help with groceries are working people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
just because you're working
So
doesn't
trying
mean
to
you're
get here between
rich.
10 and 2 on a Wednesday or Thursday,
Right.
doesn't necessarily work for everyone. Coming here at 5:30 on Monday, or 4:30, or 6:30,
That can
and,
work.
Makes it so much more accessible and community-friendly.
right,
Yeah.
I think both applicants that we interviewed made comments about how they would include, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, high schoolers for community service, and, I feel like there was a lot of ideas from both, applicants, that they were like, there's a lot of ways to incorporate, a lot of people to help that.
yeah, I don't think it's so much now, it's not really finding the volunteers to work there,
And I
it's
also-
finding the clientele.
Right.
Let
feed.
them know.
Oh, right, and I think the other thing is, I think people tend to forget that there are people that live in River Pines that are handicapped, and they
Yes.
are mentally handicapped, so they can't read or write. So when you dropping off things and they have flyers and they can't read them, they're giving them to their caregivers.
Right.
So there's also the need to connect with their caregivers as well.
Right. And, perhaps that's something, because it's the
It's Haverhill, yeah.
Yeah,
Haverhill.
I've met her, I've talked to her several times. The Haverhill Housing Authority oversees.
Oh, right,
The
right.
Pines.
the
Oh,
Pines.
really?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's no
That
longer,
either.
there's a woman that,
Maria, I think.
pardon?
What's her name, Maria?
Maybe.
I have all their contact.
Yeah, I know, I have it too somewhere in my phone. And she, I believe, is physically on site, at least a while ago, was physically on site Mondays at the River Pines.
Perfect.
Which might be another good outreach, you know, if she could start spreading the word.
Yeah.
Once Maureen is in place and we can start telling people that they can come over. The other thing that we can do is, like, several of the people that, from the River Pines that do use it, are people that are unable to come over and pick up the groceries. So, for example, on Wednesdays, we still, until our neighbor's table stops, you know, doing the van, loading the van with groceries for homebound seniors. We have a core of volunteers, mostly through Groveland Congregational Church, but other people as well, who are on Wednesdays are able to go and deliver. And once our neighbors, you know, we can certainly roll that over into doing pantry deliveries directly. I mean, I know Irene's done some on the days
I
she's been
have.
here. I've done it.
The Pines, yeah.
Thank you.
You know, that's not something we need to expect every pantry volunteer to be willing to do, though.
Right, right. But
But we
if,
have a
if
core
someone
group.
is getting it one day a week,
Right.
you know, from someone who is willing to do that,
I mean, I do think there's,
and touching, there are ways to get out there. We
right
just
now,
have
my
to.
biggest concern
right.
is how do we get the information
Yeah.
out there?
Right.
Because until
They're
we
not coming.
know, until we have a better feel of how many people are gonna use the perishable section, we can't really even stock the perishable section. The last
Exactly.
thing we
That's
wanna
right.
do is have our neighbor's table send us milk and not have anyone come in and have the milk go to waste. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
And they won't actually send it until we do some surveying about how much
Right.
would actually be used within a week. Otherwise, I mean, they don't want to see any food go to waste
Right.
either.
That's
Right.
not the purpose
Right.
of this.
That's right.
No.
So-
And, I mean, I think it's, many people in town are not aware of the food pantry. Maybe they're aware of it, oh, we can that's someplace we can donate. They don't know that it is expanded and that we have this stuff and that it's not just for seniors.
That's right.
It's not just for poor people either.
That's right.
You know, it could be people, I mean, I could come and get something.
Right.
I won't, I will
When the
come and
need
donate.
arises.
But, right, yeah, when the need arises, it's for
But plenty of
anyone,
Because certain
anyone.
things happen at home
Right,
And
that
plenty of
last a
people
month
have
or
a-
something
yeah.
that they're in need.
Yep.
right.
So I think, you know.
So
Put an
Deb and
ad
I,
in the Tribune, or does that cost money?
That does cost money, and I don't know if people
Maybe
get the
as an
paper.
article.
I don't know
Oh,
if the paper.
oh,
can-
but we might have an opportunity. If we have just hired a temporary outreach worker, maybe that could be in the paper along with the hours that it's open
as an article.
and
rather than-
available
Kind of
and
like
to
the
whom it is
article that-
available.
Like
and
the
maybe
article that
that
was
could
put
go-
in when it opened, yeah.
And maybe that could go in both the Newburyport Daily News and the Lawrence Eagle Tribune, although I don't know how many people get the newspaper, but maybe those articles could also be put on Facebook or,
And some people read the paper online.
I
yeah,
was
they
gonna
do.
say they do read it
Yeah,
online.
absolutely.
Yeah, I do. I get the Sunday Tribune, which allows me to read the rest of the week online.
Online, yeah.
And I do think we need to get the word out to the
We do.
schools, though, too.
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah,
good.
that's what I was gonna bring up with this article.
The
Yes,
town has a public relations person,
Mm-hmm.
so all of that, again, can go to Rebecca, and then it goes out into a local paper, it's like, I don't know, but,
WHAV,
yeah.
Oh,
It goes out
okay.
on that paper, but to post in the other papers, I think that you would have to do that, the cost is,
It's a lot of money.
it's a lot.
For an article?
I just posted my dad's 1-year anniversary, and it was like $700 for like 6 lines.
well, I think the public,
very
the
expensive.
PR,
Very
yeah.
expensive. You post an obituary, and it's like $1,300.
Oh, yeah.
It's
That's
craziness.
That's a lot.
Right.
Could we do it as a news release?
That's what I'm
That's
saying,
what I
news
meant.
release.
That's how I would do it.
That's
When
what
we
I
Yeah,
have-
news
that's-
release,
But
exactly.
it's not gonna cost us anything.
Right.
Right.
And they decide whether or not they want to publish it, but
But
we
the other,
we put it
the
out to them.
actual other one will go into a local paper.
Yeah.
So I would, again,
So I don't know if Bagnell continues to do their weekly communicator
I
envelope.
don't either.
we can find that out. But
This is to drive our weeks.
having a history, Deb and I both have history back at Bagnell, and so we were thinking that we might be able to meet with Jim Day and whoever else he might think is usually on the panel of of educators who might be getting the information of a family in need. But maybe there's a way we
That's
can
true.
just send something home in the, if they still have it, in the weekly communicator announcing that there is this food pantry and here are the hours that it's open to anybody who has a need.
Usually the school nurse knows those things too.
Yeah,
We've-
that's what we
Yeah,
said,
we've
yeah.
discussed
At least they should
the
have the
people.
information.
Right.
The local churches too should know,
Yes.
Yes,
because they do get calls, which we can certainly,
we can follow up on that, but,
yeah.
so do we need permission from the board to approach Jim Day and talk with him about this and find out if there's a way we
I mean,
can
because
communicate?
Technically, the pantry's kind of straddles that line. It's a
Right.
COA, but it's not only for the COA.
Right,
Because we're accepting the other.
Yes.
right, and it
So,
would start to be open, I guess, on the evening of January 23rd.
Yes.
So,
When do those papers
well, who
typically
knows
go
now?
out? Yeah, if they even do.
Once upon a time, it was every Friday.
Yeah.
I don't know what the practice is now.
I don't know.
In this
When
conversation-
My kids are there and
They don't get, you know what, I know they do
Man,
get
they're
things
grandkids.
online.
Okay,
There's a Pentucket
Oh, they do everything
online
online,
thing.
yes.
Leah knows everything that's going
Yeah,
on in the
that's true.
school.
They do
Just,
it
Mom, just go online.
Okay.
I can't, because I don't
Well,
have
Or
access.
they email.
That's
They text or
communication.
they
That's
email,
communication,
yes.
so,
let's try to tap
communication.
so
in.
that, I don't know how you get into that,
Yeah.
but
No, we don't need, we
I
just need to
think
meet
you
with
can go-
somebody,
Just want to make sure
a
that's
PR
okay.
person
I-
at school who can get that out there.
I mean, I see no reason why, do we have to vote on it? Should we vote on it? We'll vote on it.
I don't know, do we need
We'll
to?
vote on it just to be safe, I
Right,
think.
right. So do I have a motion to allow the pantry workers, that's all I'm gonna call you, because it could be.
Pantry peeps?
The pantry peeps.
Ooh, there you go.
We'll have to get you T-shirts.
To
Yeah.
contact the schools, get the word out. And also maybe if you want to follow up with Maureen, and maybe Maureen could write that article, or, you know, maybe we could, regarding that we now have a new interim outreach worker, and, you know, do it as a press release. So that's two different things, but we could put it all in together. Do I have
And the
a
extended
motion?
hours too.
Yep.
And the extended, the whole
Right. So-
pantry deal.
That is one thing we still need to discuss, though.
Yes.
Is, given that Maureen is gonna be there to staff the pantry pretty much all day on Mondays.
Yeah.
And all
Mhm.
business hours on Tuesdays.
Yes,
Do we still need to keep the pantry open the Wednesday and Thursday hours? Should we just cut it back to Wednesday? I mean, honestly, we've had
Wednesday
very few
seems-
people on Thursdays. I've never had a person on
right.
Thursday.
Wednesdays are the busier, Wednesday is the busier day of the two.
Okay. Good question, because, again, this is interim. If someone else is hired, they may, I mean, the reason we had it opened when it was
Was
open
because that was
was
Maria's
that was when
schedule.
Maria. So we could totally change the hours, and I don't know if it's a good idea to take something away that people are used to, but you're saying no one shows up on
Not on
Well,
Thursdays.
not on Thursdays, one
Okay.
Thursday a month. The third Thursday of the month is the traveling chef, and so sometimes the person in the pantry can help get the bags and
But
the
as far
food
as people
assembled.
coming in, I've
but-
never had anyone come in and ask for food on Thursdays.
No, I'm trying to think if I've ever had a phone call order
Yeah.
of somebody who needs it, but I think it's been on,
Mine have always been
Wednesdays
on
mostly.
Wednesdays. I mean, I
So,
can double check, I'm working at noon
right.
in there, I can double check and go back to the logs, but
should we maybe, well, no, if we table this till February, I was wondering if we should just keep this going
I was gonna say, I would keep it
on
the way
Wednesday
it
and
is.
Thursday to the February
now.
meeting and
Okay.
just keep,
Yeah.
take
what I was
That-
stock
Take
of
it-
rather
what's
than
yeah,
taking
leave it the
away,
way
it's
it
one
is.
thing to add more
Yeah.
hours,
Yeah.
but to
Yeah.
take away and then have somebody, well, and then the next month have a permanent person come on and they're going, whoa, it's
Yeah.
open every day. It's gonna be confusing, I
Yeah.
think. But
So-
adding hours.
And you have to give a
that will-
notice, like, in a month, we'll be closing on Thursdays.
Exactly,
what
by
I
the
mean?
time
I
we do
think
that for the
just
newsletter to get
get
out.
it in.
Right.
Okay, so
Things
maybe
may
what we
change.
should do, rather than waiting for our next meeting, maybe we should have this decision made by the time the newsletter articles. Let's think about that, keep it open.
Well, we'll be meeting on that,
We'll be meeting on
Yay.
Monday.
we
Yeah.
will, yeah, well, but I mean,
We won't have that, I don't know how
Won't have
much
the
data we'll
information
have
yet.
by Monday.
no,
Okay.
no.
No, because
So,
the deadline, what's the
February
deadline for
15th
articles?
February 15th, and
Yeah,
that
and
is,
that's our next
Tuesday?
meeting.
No, Wednesday, February 15th is a Wednesday, right?
and that is the day of our next
That is the day
meeting,
of our meeting.
right? Yes.
Um,
So we could have it prepared.
So you can sign me up for the 16th, because I'll be working on the newsletter.
But we could say, I'm just thinking, maybe we should say in that, I just don't see, I don't think we have, I mean, unless things change dramatically, right now I do not see the need to be open all day Monday, all day Tuesday, Wednesday 10 to 2, and Thursday 10 to
Right.
2.
Right.
I was only there a couple of times, but I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I would
Yeah.
say maybe we say March 1st.
Oh,
We
I
keep it
mean, I'm
open,
just
And then
saying,
March 1st, we get rid of Thursday hours.
yes, and we could put that in the newsletter.
Right.
You know, who knows,
Hours
we
have
might get someone
changed, blah, blah,
permanent.
blah.
I just don't wanna make so many changes where we're on the cusp of,
Yeah.
we might have a new director, we might have a new outreach, we might have, you know. Yeah.
So in PR.
And yet I don't want you wasting your time
thing
to
is,
take a Thursday.
And to sit down here for 4 hours and have,
Right.
And have
especially,
nobody, yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
So in any PR, we should probably ask people to check the COA website to be updated about the hours. Or is there a lag in what gets posted on the website? Who posts on the
Anisha
website?
does, on the COA website,
Yeah.
Anisha does,
Oh,
I think she sends it and then it gets put in. I don't think she has the direct,
oh,
let's find out.
yeah.
Um,
Do you know how it works,
Are
Sarah?
you talking about the town website?
Yes, oh, the
No,
COA
COA
website.
website.
On the,
Page
at
on
the
the town.
town.
Okay, but they don't have their own website, they have their own page.
Right.
They
Their
have
own
their own
page.
page,
Yeah,
right.
so let's just make sure. So their page on the town website, everything needs to go through Rebecca, and it goes through our, right? I mean, it goes through our
PR
person?
person?
PR person.
Company, whatever.
The person that manages the website. So
Okay,
And if you want an article written, you just send it to her, kind of like the gist of it, and they will do a press release and submit it out. So they write everything, they do everything for us. You don't have
so
to
we
write
just
it,
send the gist of it to Rebecca, who
Right.
passes it on.
and they will write it up, they'll do a nice thing, and
Do we get to approve just to check it off
sure that the
before,
things
check it
are
out
correct?
before it?
you can. What?
So once it goes to
It-
Guilfoyle,
yeah,
he writes it.
he writes it.
Oh,
He submits
Guilfoyle,
I mean, you just have to
Yeah.
give the information, I mean.
yeah.
it
Because
should
I
be
think
very-
there was something, yeah.
Pretty direct, right? You're gonna say, these are our hours, this is
Yeah,
what's happening.
exactly.
I mean,
Okay,
I'll be honest, I've watched the things he's done and like what someone submitted and he's revised it, his revision was incredible. It just cleaner, very professional.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
What's
don't
his
think
first
we'd
name?
have to.
John,
John,
yeah,
I don't
Guilfoyle
think we'd
Public
have to
Relations is his business.
what's it called?
Caitlin Stokes' husband.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I kept wondering.
To put him in true perspective.
All right, that's what I was
Guilfoyle
wondering.
in school, Guilfoyle in school.
Oh, and I
he's
had
saying.
Kate, and I had Caitlin.
So maybe it's the same.
Between the two of us, we,
Different town.
All
Yeah.
right, so, yeah, let's, going forward, we have a motion on the table, but maybe we need to change it now.
I've forgotten the motion.
The motion was to allow the pantry peeps, the pantry people to
Follow up on PR.
follow up on PR,
schools.
excuse me,
With the schools.
with the schools, and maybe gather the information and send to, now that we have this,
Working with Maureen,
we're working with Maureen
yeah.
to gather the information and send it to Rebecca to be sent to the PR company. Does that make sense? Do I have a motion? Did you get that all, Irene? Don't put peeps in.
And I make a motion. I want a pantry peep.
Pantry peep.
And I'll
Okay.
second it as another pantry peep.
All in motion? All in motion. All in favor? I'm getting
Motion made in our
tired.
hands.
Pass.
Yeah,
All-
really.
Oh, wait a minute, who first did it,
I was
And
made a motion.
I second
And
it.
Linda second.
oh, thank you.
Okay.
And that whole conversation about the food pantry, we've pretty much discussed it, ties into this article that I brought in,
Yes.
which was so sad, about how Triton, regional schools have opened
Yeah.
the food pantry because teachers were actually spending their own money taking in snacks and food for children who came to school hungry and went home to the same situation where they more than likely had no food. They have a wellness coordinator at the Triton Regional School District, so perhaps when you reach out to Bagnell and the high school, is there a wellness coordinator there? What is the need that you know of at our schools, and how can we reach out and help get that need met? Can we be a part of that, getting that need met, so that kids aren't hungry when they go to school?
And I mean, I can reach out to, Ann Lozier.
Okay,
She's,
and,
she's school nurse, was school nurse in the different Merrimack schools. At one point, she was leading the school nurses.
I think she still is.
I know, she's she's my daughter's mother-in-law.
Oh, is she?
So
Oh,
I-
is she? Oh, you can reach out to
So I
her
can certainly
easily.
reach out and just ask her, maybe that is something that they have, a wellness
Yeah, maybe,
coordinator.
yeah, it would be a
Right.
good question.
Perhaps maybe even reach out to the wellness person at Triton and say, how did you get the word out? And they talked about confidentiality, so the students don't feel.
Right, and that's a
Right,
big thing.
that's very
They
important.
don't have going in.
Exactly.
Maybe talk to them and say, you know, how did you do this? Can you give us any?
That is a big thing.
I think so too.
So pantry peeps, there you go. The textile bin questions, I think we know that it's not our concern. It is Friends of
Mine.
Library, except Friends of Library. Okay, I'm tired already. Friends of the COA, we do need to find out about the check.
I will call,
And you
yeah.
will follow through
I'll
with that.
Call
Good.
them right away.
I would highly recommend
Oh, I think I
that
saw this
anyone who is on any
somewhere.
board or committee
Read that.
in the town or employed by the town, watch the First Amendment audit webinar. I have it. If you're interested, I can send it to
Yeah, would
you, the
I meant
link.
to do it, and I didn't have, I wasn't
And if you
available.
don't want to go through me, you can go to the Mass Municipal website. What is it called? MMA
Yeah.
website, and they have it up there, and you can watch it.
I also
It's
have
about
it. I
an
could
hour
forward
and a
it.
half long,
Yeah.
but boy, you learn a lot.
What is it
And
exactly?
I would like that.
So you want to explain? Like,
Sure, I'll distribute it to the board, the information.
thank
I
you.
wasn't sure who did the online training.
I did.
But, are you asking what is the First Amendment audit?
Yeah.
This is a money-making scheme, basically, where people go into public buildings, try to create a disturbance
Oh, I saw
that they can
that.
then post on Facebook. And, you know, I tell people about it with the caution of don't go looking for it, because when you click on it and view it, that's how they make money. They came here.
Yes.
They interrupted a meeting that we were trying to get for the very first search committee for the new director. They interrupted that, and the presentation is from the same law firm, KP Law, that did the guidelines for our search committee. It was an excellent presentation, you know, very informative and very helpful. And basically, the message is, what we do in town hall is pretty boring stuff, and you don't want to give them a reason to put you on camera. So you just accept their presence and don't create a
Okay, you
conflict.
told me about that. I wasn't aware that was the name
Yeah, that
of the.
right,
of
well, the
group.
group calls themselves the
So
First Amendment.
I'll distribute that link to everybody.
Okay.
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'd like to
Thank
watch
you.
that,
It's
yeah.
well worth the time, you know, about an hour
Yeah.
and 15 minutes, as you said.
And I believe anyone who comes on any board or should
Watch it.
watch this, because, yeah, there were questions that we, you know, that were asked, like, we are considered town employees.
Right.
Even though we're not getting paid, we are town employees. And yes, when you sign your papers and you do all that, you don't realize that it's the same thing as, so, yeah. Anyway, so that's one thing. There was an email that was sent to me through Nisha about Age Span is applying for grants, and they sent an email wondering if we would be interested in if the COA would be interested in not applying for the grant, but giving them information, and would we be interested in holding a COVID/flu clinic, and this grant would pay for it. We would be hosting it here. We would be responsible for all of the advertising, all of everything, getting everything, and then we would get money for that through this grant if we were a host. My own feeling is we wait until we have a director to decide on that, but I don't think we need to decide that.
Would this be better something for the Board of Health, or is this directed
Yeah.
at the
It was
COA?
directed at COAs, but I think the Board of Health would need to be involved as well.
Absolutely.
I did not go and fill out the poll that they were interested in. Nisha explored it a little bit more and said, this is what it means, that they're applying for a grant. If we want to be a participating community, it's between, from now until December 31st. If they get this grant, this is what the grant would hold. We'd have to have it then, et cetera, et cetera. And that's something I feel we shouldn't be dealing with right now. Also, there's an email from Annie Schindler, who is the Town Planner and Environmental Program Coordinator. Well, I'm going to read it because for me to try to explain. It said, "Hi Laurel, I believe we've met before in Town Hall briefly, but I wanted to further introduce myself. I work in the town's Economic Development Department as the Town Planner and Conservation Agent. I'm reaching out because Groveland is preparing to update our Housing Production Plan, HPP, with Merrimack Valley Planning Commission and other communities in the region. HPPs are a community proactive strategy for planning and developing affordable housing by creating a strategy to enable it to meet its affordable housing needs in a manner consistent with the Chapter 40B statute and regulation. In collaboration with our member communities, Merrimack Valley PC is undertaking a comprehensive project to update all 15 of the region's existing HPPs. This project entails building upon the existing portfolio of plans, most of which are set to expire at the end of 2023, to update crucial demographic and housing. Anyway, so they're saying the important demographic in Groveland that we want to make sure has their voice and concerns is the senior population. To ensure we have a dynamic group, I would like to invite you or another member of the board to serve as a member of our municipal stakeholder committee. You'd work with other members of the planning team, updating our community, involve attending semi-regular meetings over the next 18 months to gather information, review data, convene stakeholders, develop goals and strategies, review draft plans, and help to coordinate local adoption of the updated plan. So I was kind of involved in this a number of years ago, I think for the original one, just what are the needs here, Chapter 40B, I don't know if you know what that is. It's, any new buildings or projects have, need to apply to Chapter 40B, making so many units affordable. So I didn't know if any of you were interested in doing this. Like it's to pretty much your part in this, and Nisha received this too. Your part in this would be to be an advocate basically for the seniors. And as we've all been talking, Groveland's getting a little expensive for seniors, and what affordable housing do we have for them? I mean, River Pines is about it. I mean, the other two in town are, senior communities are not really affordable. I don't know if anyone else is interested in this. I believe the director would also be, when we have a director, would also be involved, but as a community member and member of the COA, just putting it out there.
I kind of am interested, but I'm just not sure how much I really want to commit to.
Well, I'm at that point too, unless
I
he's a
know.
director, I'm full
I know.
enough, yeah.
I know, but I am interested. Let me think about
Okay,
it a little
yeah,
bit.
yep. And that's, I want to contact her and just say, you know, we have possibly 2 people on the board, if anyone else, that might be interested, but right now, we are very involved with this other piece, and I don't know how many
Because I
times.
think it's hugely important.
Oh, it is. And the last time we did this, I don't remember how long ago it was. But I was also on the COA board at the time, and I think that's why I was invited to come in. I think we only had about 4 or 5 meetings in the 18 months. And it was, you know, they came, they explained, they showed, and, you know, like, things like, what's lacking here? Well, at the time, we didn't have transportation.
Right.
And, you know, even forgetting the seniors, but, you know, for affordable housing, well, if you don't have a car, how do you get around?
Right.
And things like that, you know, were brought up, and now we do have some transportation. So, anyway, is there anyone else? I just wanted to let you know, I got that email, and I'm going to give her a call and just,
Yeah, when does she have any kind of, like, when they want to start meetings, when they need to know this?
no. So I will find out and get back to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I might also be interested, Laurel, depending on, you know, the scope of it and
yeah.
things
Right.
like
I
that.
know, that's like kind of.
Get through the search
Take a nice,
committee.
Okay, I know, I think I know who she is, because,
I can happily walk
so,
through it.
yeah, and then there's another team meeting, the bi-monthly team meeting coming up. I don't know if we'll have the director by that time, and I mean, I will go again, but I would love to say, and this is the new director. Everything's on this limbo, you know. But that's coming up too. And that's all I have. Anyone else? Under other, I'm just,
Just, Deb and Linda and Irene, I want to give you the resumes. So
Okay.
before you leave, make sure I'm gonna go to the copy machine.
I'm gonna be
okay?
in the pantry.
All right, so,
could I have the last persons? I never,
I'm sure,
the-
yeah,
what's
okay.
her name?
I'll make another
You're
one.
just giving us 2 resumes,
Right,
right?
I'm just
Right,
giving you
yeah.
two.
Read-
Okay,
And I've destroyed the others.
Okay, good.
Okay,
and, if you have copies of
Well-
the questions for me?
not yet.
Oh, thanks.
And I added a question
can
on the
see that.
back, and I added
Oh,
Susan's
fabulous.
phone number, okay?
Thank you. Good, good.
So do you want me to
Okay, good.
send you the, my
Yes.
email as far as the questions that we asked yesterday and,
Yes,
and
please.
highlight those? And okay, I will get on that when I get home. And I'll do the
Are
minutes
you
too.
here today? No, you are, okay. No one's in there. It doesn't matter.
From noon on? You're doing
Yeah,
the
Candy's
12
in,
to 2?
Candy's in there
Oh,
now.
Candy is in there now.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
Candy's
saying. I
in there
haven't
now.
heard anyone knocking on the door.
Leave her, as soon as I run out to my car and get some things I have to give to her.
Okay. Anyone else?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn? I have a second?
Second,
Wait a minute, who did the first?
I mean,
Oh,
at 11:50.
thank you.
And our next meeting will be this coming Monday
Yes.
here
at 5:30.
at 5:30.
Okay.
And our next regularly scheduled meeting will be on February
February
15th
15th.
February 15th.
at
Yes.
9:30.
Yeah, which I may or may not be at, it depends.